A very good afternoon, dear viewers, and welcome back to another session, another episode of GETI Live Talks under the hashtag Disruptive Education Movement. I'm your host, Preena Arora, and I have with me Mr. P. Kadhiresan, who is currently in the capacity of principal with Navanita Public School in Nellore. Well, it's a residential school for the underprivileged under the CSR initiative promoted by Navyuga Engineering Company. Well, Mr. Kadhiresan has given his 16 years as a principal and has worked for 4 years in Saudi Arabia as a vice principal as well. He bagged many awards like Bharat Shiksha Ratna Award in 2012, Dr. APJ Abdul Kalam Educator of the Decade Award 2020 by National Education Society for Children and Youth Welfare, and he has presented for about 25 webinars, panel discussions, and he has received the Smart Tail Inspiring School Award, Leader Award in 2020 as well. Well, it's an honor to have you on this platform, sir. And today he will be talking on the topic that is about the professional development of the teachers. So, without much ado, I would request sir to please take over the session and enlighten us.
Thank you. Thank you, Ms. Prina. Good afternoon to all the viewers. It's a wonderful platform to share my ideas on the topic of the day, which is professional development of the teachers. Before we get into the topic, the need of the hour is being trained professionally. Nobody ever dreamt of this pandemic affecting the industry of education this long. It's almost close to 2 years since the pandemic had struck, and we are all missing out our children and the regular teaching at school. It is essential for everybody to be updated. It so happens that we update our gadgets and all kind of appliances. We try to use the updated versions, but most of them, though they get trained professionally, there are a minimum lot of people who fail to understand the importance or the essential reason for updating in their respective profession. And professional development of teachers is going to be a very, very important, not for the pandemic, but even otherwise, in a usual sense, teachers need to be updated, which will be rendered by professional development. So let me share my screen. Yeah. So we are going to talk about our topic for the teachers, the professional development of the teachers. Most of them, whatever said is done, most of them choose their profession as teaching by chance and not choice. You know, it's a profession. Most very often we tell teaching as a noble profession, equivalent to the frontline warriors in the hospitals. Now, great teachers help create great students. In fact, a greater generations. Research shows that an inspiring and an informed teacher is the most important school related factor influencing the student achievement. You might have a palace like structure as the school, you might have well equipped classrooms, all air conditioned model. In case you don't have an inspiring teacher or knowledgeable teacher, a dynamic teacher, probably you will be missing the major portion of what is education in the school. What is professional development? Professional development for teachers can help teachers to plan their time better and stay organized. We cannot rest ourselves from what we have been doing for the last 20 years, 25 years. They say every 10 years, the generation changes. There's a attitudinal change, behavioral change in the generation of students every 10 years. To suit to the needs of the new generation, one has to equip himself or herself with the latest available resources, which will come handy for them to plan better, saving a lot of time. It makes teachers more efficient and gives them extra time to focus not on the paperwork. There are a lot of papers, there are a lot of theories being discussed, but the ground reality is we need to focus on students. So this professional development will give ample scope for the teachers to focus on students. Then the paperwork, teachers gain knowledge and insight into the industry. Now, why do we need professional development? That's what we have just discussed. Professional development keeps teachers up to date on new research on how children learn, emerging technology tools for the classroom, new curriculum resources, and many more. The best professional development is ongoing, experiential, collaborative, and connected, which is derived from an actual working of with students and understanding their culture. Earlier days, if we just go to the past, it was all the content based. Whatever said and done, children, whether they understand or not understand, they will have to by heart or cram about the content which is taught to them. It was only a one way kind of transaction. The teacher used to share the knowledge or share the content, and the children, whether they understand or not, that was the order of those days. But it is kept aside, closed in a safe baggage, and never used now. Now it is very, very important for us to focus on how the child understands. The understanding of the child is more important than the quantitative conceptual knowledge. So we from quantitative, we are moving to a qualitative. When we are moving to a qualitative, we need to know the methodologies, we need to understand the various tools which are coming handy in the process of making the child understand. And that's where we need to go with professional development. These days we have hybrid learning, blended learning, collaborative learning. Now distance is not a gap at all in kind of latest technology based learning. Nobody, if I had to quote, nobody ever thought of this virtual classrooms when we were doing our own training programs in the form of B.Ed, M.Ed, or research, whatever. It was the pandemic which pulled all of us to enter into this kind of uh, virtual classrooms, and the teachers very quickly adapted to this model of uh, uh, kind of virtual classrooms. Hats off to all the teaching community for that excellent work, which they are still keeping on in the process of continual education. So, what do we get from the professional development outcomes? Teachers could look for deep content knowledge. Yes, knowledge is important. They can have a greater insight, a deeper context or conceptual knowledge, different models of instructional strategies. So we in a classroom have the various levels of learners, how to cater to them. We cannot use the same model always. It becomes a monotony, and the children lack interest in such kind of monotonous kind of methodologies or strategies. So, from the professional development, we have different models of instructional strategies and the assessment practices. It is not the pen and paper test always. How better, how different can we assess a child's learning? We can also learn, we can also understand the learning and development of children and adults, clinical and supervision skills, the ability to model effective instructional and assessment practices. It can be individualized. Every teacher can individualize his or her own methodology, the strategy to adopt in a class. And these teaching methodologies or the strategies also depend on the environment in which the children grow, the kind of facilities which are available, the resources which are available. So this professional development do provide them various models which they can choose from, which will help their own students. So it also helps in knowing their own students, understanding the different learning abilities and the capacities of the students, motivating and encouraging them when the students underperform. How to motivate is also an essential factor. And it also gives tips on how to deal with parental and peer pressure, building an effective communication channel between the management, the parents, the students. Okay. There are different types of professional development. We have the professional development which could make teaching more effective and exciting. We were discussing on the blended model, the collaborative, the hybrid model, the experiential model. So, differentiating the teaching methodologies we can have through professional development. It can be a care and share model. When you have a professional development program in a group, there will be way many inputs which we would have not thought of. So that gives a platform for sharing better ideas and seeking effective models. We can also have professional development for understanding the child psychology, and we often talk about no child left behind. How do we practice it? We know in a classroom we shouldn't be having any child having that particular feel of left behind. So how do we engage them, and what could be an activity or what could be something which will excite the children? So individual attention is also possible, but when you have a classroom kind of situation, how do you understand if the child is interested, if he is having something else in his mind? All those things through workshops and professional development. So remember, professional development is not about only transacting what is there in the textual kind of resources. It is not about the academic, but we also get to know many other uh, kind of learnings through professional development. We can also have professional development for effective classroom management. So, classroom management again is a skill which we will know according to the age group. How do we manage the classes? We also have subject related and the self-development workshop, which will which will always excite the teacher away from the routine kind of teaching. This gives a self kind of awareness to move forward from wherever we are. Now, we also have this financial constraints and the availability of resources. When we ask any of the teacher how you feel about attending a professional development course, this number one, all professional course development course or workshops could be charging something. So there is a financial constraint, uh, and availability of resources. They don't find, probably, for getting a getting involved in a professional development, the teacher will have to move to a, a city which is far away, and those financial constraints, domestic constraints. They might be in a kind of family structure where their involvement is more. There might be time constraints, personalization, sustainability. Sustainability in the sense, how do we keep the professional development into the classroom? We have undergone a kind of professional development. How do we bring it into the classroom? How do we sustain that throughout? And a work balance. Teachers have to plan for their lessons, will have to give their lessons in the classroom. After lesson, they have to have their correction of the notes, the evaluations of the assessment papers. All these things are there. With, in addition to this, what if I am going to go for a professional development? How am I going to be benefited? Do I have the energy to sit for a professional development? All these kind of challenges are there. Now, we will have to have a checklist if we need to move up in our professional career. All this we have been talking only as a profession, and more specific, it is for the teachers. How do we set targets? Am I going to be a teacher forever? No. From the teacher, there's a next step. Next step could be some a small group leader, a team head, or a subject head. Now, you will have to set goals yourself. Now, I have a small tabulation here uh, which says about the goals and the other involved factors. Now, if I'm going to take the first one says the specific goal is to become a subject head. What key skills are needed for becoming a subject head? You need to have expert knowledge in the subject you wish to specialize. You need to have a very good communication skill. You need to have leadership skills because you are a head. And you need to have management skills. You need to do your own work and then coordinate with the team. So, what skills do you need to develop furthermore? These are the ones which I mentioned are the skills which you have, but you need for the goal. What do you have? What you need to have, and what actions are you going to take? So these the skills which I had spoken: expert knowledge in the subject, communication skill, leadership. All these goals are needed to become a subject head. Now, what skills do you need to develop? You need to be very, very good in the knowledge and the leadership skills. When you are as a subject head, there shouldn't be a finger pointing at you for any of your errors. So you need to be very skillful in this knowledge and leadership. What actions are you going to take? Carry out my own research by reading reports and completing a project of knowledge I need to achieve. So, irrespective, it could be a kindergarten, it could be a primary, it could be a secondary, it could be a higher secondary, it could be a middle school, anywhere. I will do a research. Research could be subject wise, it can be across the curriculum, across various syllabus, how it is being projected, and I will try to acquire more knowledge through my own research. And next, how do I gain this leadership skill? I will have a kind of mentor whom who had a greater influence in me. I will try to duplicate, or I will try to shadow a current head of the subject. That way, I will take actions to move forward as a subject head. Now, this is not all sufficient. We will have to review ourselves, because what lies in me today could not be, might not be catering to the child's need the following year. And therefore, it is essential to review the skill what I have acquired. If everything is fine, huh, but please do sharpen it. And you should also have a review in between, and a complete completion stage. You will have to, by so and so date, I will become a subject head. If you are going to be very specifically having a target date, then I believe that will be a career up your ladder. So it it can be becoming a subject head, to becoming a headmaster, to becoming a vice principal, to a principal. Remember, whatever position you hold, at the basic level, you are a teacher, and you need to possess all the skills required for the generation you are teaching, which is essential. If we are not going to cater to the needs of the child, I, I believe we are not doing a justifying job to our career. So there I end. Thank you for the time given, Ms. Prina.
Thanks to you, sir, for sharing such information with us. We all know learning is an ongoing process, and same goes for the teachers. You know, education is it's a learning cycle without an end. We know this, and it's not going to stop after your maybe after your college, or once you are into job. You have to keep learning. You have to upgrade yourself every now and then.
That's
That's
true.
very
That's
much
true.
important. Yes, and
Now,
the way you explained about the sessions, about the training of how we can have, effective classrooms. We can have teachers to be trained in understanding the child. These are small things, but very, very important. These hold a lot of importance to have effective classrooms. And yeah, it's important for the teachers to keep upgrading, to find out new ways how to teach in the classroom. And as we all in this situation right now, teaching through technology. So again, I think none of us were prepared, as you rightly said, that we were not prepared
very
that we ever use technology for the classes. So it's important for teachers to keep learning, to find out new ways to better their skills, how to manage the class, to also to know the new trends in the industry, in the education industry. They get to know about that, and that's also very, very important. And I like the best part of the session was about the challenges you mentioned, and you explained about that also. that there are certain challenges that teachers come across, whether it's financial problem or the time constraint, and how they can actually balance that. So yes,
That's true. That's true.
yes, yes.
Yeah. Now, basically, when you were introducing me, you were talking about my experience, 25 years in
Mm-hmm.
the teaching field. But let's not forget what kind of training I had gone 25 years back does not suit to today's need. You know,
Absolutely. Yes,
so
yes.
I know how to deal with a child who is absent for 2 months, how to kind of make him understand the concept what I have taught, might be additional time, all those things. But 2 years of uh, duration, uh, virtual classrooms are there, but what kind of how effective are they is the question.
Yes.
Okay,
Yes.
everybody
How
is
they are
involved in the
open.
yes. So how do we influence the child to learn? Now it slowly moving towards independent learning, right?
Right. Right.
Independent learning is what now these days the talk is all about. So a very challenging kind of scenario, but hats off to all the teachers, the teaching community in general. They've been doing a marvelous job. uh,
Without
they
any
were
doubt.
very quick and swift in stepping into their shoes and then taking it forward. Yeah.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I think that's true. How much effort they have put in last 2 years. They have done everything. So many were not sure about using the technology, but they are out of their comfort zones now, and they are
Yeah.
on the track of learning. So that's more important. Adaptability, adapting things, whatever is happening around is very much important. We keep talking about
That's true.
students to how we have to teach the kids what we can do, what all strategies we can use for them. But I think equally the teachers upgradation is also very much important. It helps them to become better educators, and of course they can grow into qualified future school heads. You never know. That's how it works. Every single thing is like, it's counted. Every single effort is considered. So ultimately, professional development of teachers, it helps them to overcome all the obstacles, just like we are managing now and from past 2 years. As I said,
No,
almost 2 years.
uh,
This year is
we are
almost gone.
we are all lifelong learners. Let's accept that.
Absolutely. Yes.
And children get inspired when we even as teachers learn new things. Children get inspired about it.
Totally. Yes. You need to set an example. You need to be a teacher with that enthusiasm, that confidence, and
Yes,
motivate them to learn.
yes,
So I
yes.
think with this we come to an end, sir. Thank you so much for joining us
Thank you.
today
Thank
and
you for
sharing your
providing me this
thoughts.
platform to share my thoughts and ideas.
Pleasure is all ours, sir. Thanks to you on behalf of our entire
Thanks.
team. And definitely we will
Thanks.
connect soon with some other topic to talk on.
Sure, sure.
Okay, sir.
Yes.
Thank you so much.
Looking
Thank you,
forward.
everyone.
Thank you. Thanks a lot. Bye.
Take care.